So, do I regret voting leave? And the answer is yes, but no, but yes, but no, but kind of. Okay, let me explain this properly. So, for me, there's two kinds of regret. There's a regret where, say, somebody's died or something, and you regret because you want to reverse the clock to get them back because you feel a sense of loss, a sense of sorrow, and you wish you could just undo the mistakes of the past because it just affects your life so much. And there's the other kind of regret, which is where you make a mistake, but in a way you're kind of glad that you made that mistake because you've then learnt from this mistake, and the lessons and the life that you had since that mistake has been better than before it. And for me, this is definitely the second kind of regret, the regret that, it was a huge mistake to vote to leave. I admit that. But if I was offered a second referendum with an option to remain, I would not vote remain on the principle that it is a second referendum, and it would therefore be against the idea of the first referendum, and it would also massively complicate everything that's happened since that first Brexit referendum. It would not solve Northern Ireland. It would not suddenly make EU citizens feel welcome. It would not suddenly sort out the government mess. It would not suddenly make Scotland feel part of the UK. Suddenly remaining in the EU would not be the solution to Brexit anymore. For some, I know it might be, because it means we don't have to get a deal and we don't have to all crash out with the no deal. But you've got to remember, things have changed since then. Okay, so let me take you back to 2016 and to the reasons why I voted leave. Okay, so 2016 was quite a tumultuous time. We just had the Scottish referendum. I remember following that quite vividly. I was predicting Donald Trump was going to win the US election before that happened. I think I just started my YouTube channel, but it wasn't really a political channel back then. It's more kind of comedy and stuff. And I was kind of in the situation where I felt like it was the first time I actually voted in anything political or anything. It's the first time I actually got registered on time. And to be honest, for me, it felt like a vote between change, as in leave, or no change and staying. Yes, I was against David Cameron's government, and for me, it was a largely anti-establishment vote. But you have to remember that I wasn't. There's two ways of rebelling, really. You can either be a criminal or a contrarian. A criminal is somebody that breaks all the rules and just destroys everything. A Banksy, he just sprays on the wall, and that's his way of making his statement, being him. Or you can be a contrarian, where you stay within the rules. For example, you might go to a restaurant and then complain, or you complain to Ofcom, or you vote against whatever the government wants you to vote for, things like that. And I've definitely always been more of a contrarian in my life. It's just what I'm like. And it's okay to be a contrarian sometimes, especially if it's not annoying. If it's a vote to change your country and do something for the better, then why not give it a go? Why not be a little bit creative in the way you express yourself in public, And that's kind of me, really, is that I always try and do things fresh, keep things going, keep things new. And I felt like the EU was becoming rather stale, to be honest with you. We were getting the refugees in from the EU. That crisis was going on. terrorism was huge back then, and that the entire political establishment was, between Tories and Labour and Tories and Labour and Tories and Labour, it was just all getting a little bit to, like, we expect you to remain, so therefore we're going to campaign to remain, and we're going to give you a vote with Remain or Leave, but we're hoping that Remain will win, and if Remain wins, nothing will change, and if Remain wins, we will stay in the EU, and if Remain wins, we'll be okay, and if you vote Leave, you're gonna be in an economic chaos, and if you vote Leave, all this terrible stuff's gonna happen, and if you vote Leave, you'll say goodbye to Scotland and say goodbye to Northern Ireland. And part of me, even though there was all that fear, part of me didn't believe it. Part of me saw it as just political arguments for argument's sake and personality clashing. And I believed in the optimism and the opportunities that a Brexit Britain could create. Now, it was a vote against the establishment, I understand that, but at the end of the day, it's a contrarian vote, not a criminal vote. It's a vote that was aiming to do something with the trust that the government could enact it. It was a vote that said, if you vote Leave, we will leave. What I didn't expect was everything that happened since, where we have essentially tried to either remain or try to leave on the wrong terms, such as leaving on a no deal, which I think would be bad for the UK, or we haven't agreed our Brexit stance, and for that I'm sorry, I didn't know. Nobody knew. Do I care about being worse off as a result of Brexit? Of course I do. I don't want food to go up in price or to end up worse off. But at the same time, do I care about a European Union that is not serving its purpose? Absolutely. If the European Union is not serving its purpose, then it will only get worse. And sometimes you have to do something radical to change it. Now, whether Brexit will eventually end up changing the European Union, or whether it will all just stay the same, and the UK itself will be the one that suffers, I don't know. But the end of the day, right now, the future relationship of us with the EU and asking whether I regret any of that, the answer is I don't know, because we don't know what the future relationship with the EU is going to be. So yes, I regret the political turmoil that's happened since Brexit. But at the end of the day, we've had a lot of fun making videos on it on YouTube and talking about it, and it's been great fun to talk about. I think this has been the most engaging 2 years I've ever had in terms of politics or anything. There was a period in the middle of the Brexit negotiations when I struggled to make videos because actually not enough was going on in terms of the negotiations. But now it's like I can't make enough videos to fulfill the schedule. So yeah, I think that politics like that can be dangerous, but it's what politics also should be, if you want to make change. I don't just want to see like the same old like taxes and budgets every year and conference every year, and then more taxes, and then more budgets and conference and budgets and another policy and austerity, and then more austerity, and then it just goes on and on and on and on. That's boring. That's not what politics is for. Politics is for people to actually get engaged with and talk about and debate with. And in the past 2 years, we've seen online, we've seen a lot of social media getting involved in the wrong ways as well as the right ways with the political situation, both the US and the UK. And it's quite interesting because where we once had this internet that was seen as like this either silly place or this quite dark place, it's now become quite a serious place full of actual quite topical and interesting opinions. And I feel that the next big wave of opinion, or the next big protest, will come from the internet. And we've got a really interesting situation now where Russia's gaining power, America's looking to isolate itself, Britain's looking to isolate itself, Europe's looking to unite itself, and it's almost like we're on the verge of a world war or another economic crash, people have said, or an internet revolution, something along those lines, or it could just be the UK that suffers. But the pace at which politics has changed in the last 2 years is dramatic, and in some places it's quite scary, where I think after we're done with this whole Brexit, Trump saga, the world after that will be similar to the world before the World Wars and after the World Wars. I think it's that radical a change, but I can't yet say what it's going to be, and I can't yet say whether I regret that or not. I know that Brexit eventually led to Trump in a way, because the Americans felt empowered to vote for Trump. It also emboldened Russia because Russia could then get blamed for hacking Facebook and the Leave campaign and stuff like that, and it made everyone more fearful of Russia, and it made the whole thing of cyber politics becoming more of a thing now. And it's just crazy how much stuff has changed, whether it changed before the vote itself and I was just influenced by the internet and Russia or whatever it was, or whether I personally changed it, I don't know. But whether I regret that or not, I still can't say. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know your opinions in the debate below, and subscribe.